Major One Mustache is back. He's on fire. He's getting all the elims they need. They pick up this first win, and it's just so symbolic of just what can happen when this team is surviving off spawn, right? We have to remember that. This game starts off with them landing Seaport. Minnie and I predicted it. Look, we don't think they're going to land and come, you know, this other trio at Kappa Kappa Factory. We think they're going to go Seaport. They did go Seaport. They win at Seaport, and the rest of the game just feels so clear from that point forward. I mean,
I know they just continue to hold down height, and down below inside the waterway itself, teams just getting absolutely smothered together.
Swizzy's already gone down. Mustache now forced to back up as him and Queasy are put into panic. Blaha Mixon looking for shots, unable to connect one though, but they find Marius, they found Vanya. Mustache now looking to get some shots. Can they find a free picking? Yes, they can. Marius goes down to Mustache, bumping his eliminations up to 5 as they continue to find a way back to zone, but they're not even done.
Darm, welcome to your first grand, because Wax Malabuka on the other side of those walls, but it's going to be Demas who might be able to actually keep the Polish hopes alive here, just managing to squiggle away from where Wax and Malabuka are currently standing. But Malabuka, he can't afford to take another tick of storm. He's got to make sure that he follows zone all the way through. Wax immediately lit up the moment that he tries to layer swap.
Malabuka versus Mustache. What is this history? Teammates now opponents, as you have to be careful. Malabuka goes down. The zone's pulling right back to the dam. They need to get elevated here. You cannot stay down below. You're going to get cut off from zone as Mustache is looking to see what he can do with just 2 builds to his name. 28 HP, 50 shield. All it's going to take is one big pump shot to take out Mustache.
But Mustache knows he's going to be forced to try and play from this backside position. Now looking to just try and hold down, hold out for as long as possible. Every placement counts. They didn't have the materials in the first place. That's why he's even low ground to begin with. But he's not the only one suffering here. Scroll, Sky, Eyedrop just cutting their way through the madness. Finally managed to find a solo, but Xerus makes sure that his name is known. Getting the better end of this exchange now. It's all going to be Mustache dropping to try and see if he can recover some of that body loot, but Rex immediately puts that dream down.
Mixon, full trio up. Blaha comeback now. Have to decide what's the game plan. Do we have an opening for height? Do we have to drop down low? The decision needs to be made as the Oni masks are going to come through to avoid that fall damage and conserve those last couple materials that they have. The fight for the low ground is about to commence as Mixon, Blaha, comeback looking for angles. Go on in. Demus goes down. Vico, though, he's not going to let that one slide as he takes out Blaha. Looking to follow up shortly with comeback. Just 20 HP on the clock. Gets the siphon. It's enough to stay up, but now it's Flixie gonna be able to out-heal. The Oni mats come through. Flixie's not even finished. This
momentarily to comment behind Mixon, it did not deter them in the slightest. They just got fraggy at the end of it.
Oh yeah, that zone was perfect as well. After they were able to take height, there was so many changes in the elevation due to that dam that they just had almost a free picking up on high ground. But you could also see how their playstyle kind of changed a little bit from the first game. They got picked too early. They didn't take as many of those early to mid-game engagements, but just like we're used to seeing, once it reached the end game, they started. The issue is, this is such a perfect match to make a comeback when all the top trios are down, but when you're left at 12 HP, I mean, you've got damage, but you're missing everything else. Marius as well. Everybody's going down. It's looking like a solo FNCS as Sky is doing what he can to stay up, forced to drop down, play backside of zone. But with trios knowing that he's close by, it's only a matter of time until Sky has to make a play here.
This might have just been a gift from above, though. And it's going to be claimed. Sky will at least take the loot. And now Haijo, another not body, but Sky, he can't afford to stick around. He can't afford to get more of that siphon materials because he's got to make his way up the hill. He can't afford to get stuck, and instead it's going to be the storm that claims his life.
Hold on, though. Fan favorite trio up above in the clouds is Panzer Mongrel, Mr. Savage. This is the match that they want to end big on. 72 points, but all it takes is one victory royale to boost them back up. All the top trios are down. It's everything on the line. Adam has to be careful, though, as he's looking for a chop down, and shots are continuing to come through.
Nebs as well, continue to work through this secondary height. He's got Chino and Pink right behind him. They know that there's a team up above. They're looking for their opportunity to see if they can get a chomp. They don't have the material necessarily to immediately build up onto height, but at the very least, they could still look to cause some disastrous claims there to Mr. Savage's game. Teeny all the while, just looking to try and survive.
31 HP, 10 builds as it continues to drop down. Last 3 builds to work with. A full trio jumping into Teeny's box. What can you do? As Jarko, Nako left as a duo. They've got 5 eliminations. They pushed themselves ahead of zone. Now with a refresh, not only do they get that...
No way.
Oh, it's actually Kire. It's their teammate. I didn't even realize they're about to be a full trio on low.
The fact that they went for the double revive and pulled it off here to Kata. It seems like almost anything can happen for this team, but Pix, Darm, some really big up-and-comers. Can they manage to Polska Guram their way to a victory royale here? Now it's going to be CZB caught in the crossfire. Nathan soon to follow directly behind him. Pix, Darm, they're still alive. Ultimate low, but it might ultimately belong to them.
It might be their first major finals, but they said put some respect on our names as they go for high ground. Mongrel gets cracked, dropped to 46 HP there. Gretchen's onto Pix, but he gets knocked down. It's now a 2 versus 1. Mongrel Panzer all up against Darm as a solo. Can they clean this one out? They have every advantage to their name, but with the big pump coming through, Darm is gonna... Our top trios going down to Mr. Savage, Mongrel, and Panzer getting the victory royale. This is what a major finals is all about. I love that they were able to play it by the book up above and clean it up. And also, shout out to Demas and his trio. I mean, making it to second place in your first major finals. I mean, I want to see where they are on the leaderboard because they have been dominating.
They've for sure got to be set on track to beat out that record of an 8th place finish. But at front, they're trying to just make sure they can claim as much space as possible. 2 boxes wide currently, but Sky knows it's going to take more than just a setup in the low ground. They're going to need those elimination refrags to come through as Veno, Flixie, Vico, we know how much they love to chop height. They've got to have it in their sights.
I see it. I see Veno already looking up. He wants to constantly be aware of how that high ground's looking. They're ahead of zone. They have enough materials to play it, but the issue is high ground looks so healthy. They need to find an efficient shot here, and while they take that time, you got Vico, you got Flixie fragging out in the backside of the tarp here, picking up refreshes to continue their dominance in terms of materials, everything needed to retake the height later on here.
Meanwhile, Savage just trying to stay as close-knit to Panzer as possible. They know that they can't afford to split for even a second. Otherwise, they're going to end up like V, just getting picked apart in the sky, still managing to hold on just barely, but it's just not going to be enough here to Kata. If he wants to really break through, he needs a refrag, and currently he's forced to play backside with Atris.
And look how high up in the sky Vanny, Hamarius, and co are playing. Mr. Savage, though, now left alone as a solo. 1 elim on the board, looking to make it more. 27 H or shield to work with. Right now, he has to play backside of zone. He has to be careful. He can't go too far ahead. He doesn't have the loot to do so. It's just scavenging as many placements as possible and trying to find other solos that are also scuffed on loot and materials to pick off and get that refresh from. The issue is there's just so many duos. There's so many trios close by that it might be hard to find an opening on a solo, but he's doing a great job of riding the back of the wave.
You just gotta hope that nobody spots him out, because Mr. Savage only having 4 builds left. Takata, it's almost like he's pickaxing to his own demise here soon enough. Spots the fact that Malabuka is more than healthy enough, trying to just get ahead of the player that pushed up directly behind him. And Savage, one more time, bunkering away in the underground, but it's still just so much left before everything is going to completely close out in this lobby.
Skyscroll as a duo now, maintaining this kind of mid layer, as they're gonna have to be careful because the pressure from above will eventually come as the chaos continues to unfold down below. Nefrizi, Lucia, Starkus trying to see if they can get ahead. They choose to play inside the bush. It's gonna be a perfect opportunity to take shots onto Veno, to take shots onto Vico, Flixie, as they've already been cracked. Flixie left with a sliver of HP as Veno does a great job tarping ahead.
Still, though, the fact that Flixie's up and running means that this trio is still as threatening as ever. Lucia also pays the price for giving away their position in terms of where they're shooting from. The Freezy will be the first to fall as well, and so many teams just encountering Veno in the low ground. Rakuzan, that's the problem with the Invis medallion. You never see it coming.
Malabuka, Ping, continuing as a duo. They look to chop down high, but they know it's a full trio. They might just have to make the decision to drop down low, but the issue is down low, it's the beasts that are hungry for more. Pixie, Vanya, start dropping down, start opening angles here, looking to see if they can get some damage, get some extra eliminations before they look to close it out. But Veno has the invisibility medallion. He goes on up. He takes out Pixie. He hits Vanya. He takes him out as well. Is he gonna close it off in a 1 versus 3? Veno, are you serious?
Veno is simply built different. That is exactly why he always takes command of this Invis medallion. He's not the only one. Vico also making sure to light things up in the elimination feed. Marius.
This is why this trio has so much hype going into the EU finals.
Absolutely disgusting. From the moment that they got that double revive off onto Flixie, you could never count them out. Even if it was just Veno and Vico, you still can never count them out. An absolute showing from Veno and Vico to confirm.
They took their time and acted on it as Darm, Demus, and Pix now continuing to kind of wait for this pull. As now it even pulled back towards them almost, so they can kind of hug the edge of Storm here and keep on going.
Still could use a material refresh. If they're gonna torque through and try to create space in that low ground, they're gonna need to get aggressive, but that's definitely a team that's capable of doing so. Gotta be careful though. Also want to commit to the low ground because this team on height, Marius, Vanya, Pixie, spraying everyone below, making it feel like it's impossible to actually TP forward.
So much went their way. All they have to do is close it out now, continuing to apply pressure on any potential trio that might be looking for height, as Merstash has to be careful. Currently leading the pack in terms of eliminations today. Will he continue that forwards as he's been cracked down to just 50 HP? His teammates need to help him out here as the minis get popped. The aggression comes through. It's Mr. Savage Mongrel, a full trio looking to get into their boxes. Swizzy's gone down. It's all up to Merstash and Queasy now.
Merstash having to immediately box and look for a shield refresh. Is that split separation for a second too long? Swizzy having been eliminated there is going to be such a big issue. But Scroll, Sky, iDrop more than happy to take over the low ground. And in fact, Atris, gotta be real careful with where you're stepping because these floors might go at any moment.
Take a look at Demon's Darn Pigs. They're looking incredibly healthy. Oni masking in front of Zone here. This could be a solid match to put themselves right back up the leaderboard and solidify them a place in that top 3, even first place once again. Staying ahead on low ground, Vico, Veno, Flixie though. Looking now, is it the time to take height? When can we look for the opportunity?
If anything, they want to look for the chop. They don't want to allow Vanya to just have the time of their life up in the skies. Scroll, iDrop, Sky. They might actually encounter Demus and Pix. And Demus, unfortunately, left again to try and carry the torch ahead here. He's going to have to sit back for a moment, but he doesn't have any whites. He's going to have to depend on Siphon Takata if he wants to keep charging forward, but as a solo, it's going to be so difficult.
Veno's been left alone. Another solo once again. A lot of these top trios getting taken out. Demus goes down. Finnick left alone. 263 points, getting closer and closer to leading the pack. Now all up to him, as he's going to choose to ride the wave here. Does not want to get ahead of Storm. You want to play the backside when you're a solo, as Veno now has to find another one. It's going to be Queasy. Wow. He hits that shot, taking him out with a singular pump as he continues to get on forwards.
Nah, Veno actually just said what's good to his former teammate, but Veno, he's not out of the thick of it just yet. He's still got to deal with so much pressure from above and below. One build left to his name, but the Invis medallion, Haruko shuts him down.
From the Shadow Realm, Haruko with a big pump. Marius now chose to drop down low. They've held height long enough. They want to get a bit of eliminations alongside their positional advantage as Scroll picks up another 2. 5 elims on the board, just himself, as now they have full control of the low ground, but Marius is continuously looking for more pickings, but he's run out of mats.
And the problem is that Scroll's team has more than enough of them. As far as what we saw from iDrop, at least, he's just continuing to claim space. Harticle could be the real thorn in the side here. He's got that invis medallion, he's running around, but Marius actually gonna take it off his hands. Big pump elimination here. Vanya as well, still above, still looking for an advantage. But Marius, he just picked up the Shogun's medallion, and now he's lost it to iDrop.
Not only that, it's now a 3 versus 2 as well. Vanya, Pixie, everything was in their favor, but now odds are against them as iDrop, Sky, and Scroll have to make the decision on how to close this off. I don't think they have chug splashes or anything to play the heal off here. It must come down to the aggressive play, the 3 versus 2. Can Vanya do it? Can he do enough damage to let his teammate Pixie close this one off?
I don't think heal off is an option here, Takada. Vanya's gotta make something huge happen, but Vanya can't connect. He's gonna get knocked. iDrop from afar, just beaming at Pixie, who's trying to heal it out. Sky as well, though, still playing the med kit, but there is a heal off here. Pixie does have the advantage.
Medkit's going put to use. Sky has the small fries. I'm trying to do some calculations. I'm not sure who has more time here. Is Storm Sickness going to be a play? I don't think so. Pixie with the last medkit. Looks like he has the lead, but Sky's not going to let that to close out this game 5. iDrop, Sky, and Scroll take home the victory royale and bump themselves right up that leaderboard.
And it hasn't been too often here today that we've witnessed teams be able to create so much success from this low ground position, because we never once saw them really make a real stab attempt at height. They chose to just play to their strengths in this game. They recognized the fact that they had already claimed enough territory in the low ground. They were doing a decent job at making sure to control the front side as well here, Takada. It just worked out.
It just worked out. I mean, they had the wall already. Odds were in their Oni mask and a dream as the rotate comes through. Now looking to see of any potential refresh that he can punt.
Quiet as a mouse in the underground layers, doesn't want anybody else to scout him out, but Mappy, Cade, they're just above. Surely they're going to recognize the fact that there's a solo pickaxing through the low ground. Kinetic Blade alongside this Void Oni mask. All iDrop is trying to do is just make these rotates happen and stay as close to cover as possible. Demus and Darm, though, despite being a duo so early on here, Takada, they're making their presence known.
Oh, I got my eyes on them for this match. They got to be careful, though, because they're running low on materials. But right as I say that, they say, boom, quick refresh. Give me those siphon mats. And I'm not even finished yet as they continue to rotate on together, playing as a duo. They hear the pressure, the chaos surrounding them. They have to be careful. Could they just find iDrop, though? One of the top teams currently in the second place spot on the leaderboard. If they know he's a solo, if they look at him here, this could be massive.
Everybody's crouched. Everybody's trying to move as little as possible, especially if you're iDrop.
Oh no,
but he's starting
iDrop.
to pickaxe his way through. Demus Darm immediately scooping him out of the competition. Big refresh as well for them. They're going to keep going on this low ground endeavor.
The shutdown, but meanwhile, up above, it's what we expect to see. Merstash, Queasy, and Swizzy once again, once they make it out of Seaport, once they're able to play these late games, showing why they've had so much dominance on height, but Dorm has lost Demus. It's now a solo, 147 above. He has mats, he has a kinetic blade, even an Oni mask. He can make these rotates. It's a duo right beside on the other end of that box. Both just one shot away from getting eliminated, but he is going to choose the safer route to rotate on forwards and continue claiming as many points as possible.
And the fact that he wasn't beamed out of the sky there, though, by Queasy, Swizzy, or Merstash is insanity. Darm just stuck inside of a metal cone here, hoping that he can maybe scramble together some kind of last-minute finish, but it's not going to come easy. Uppel, Fincheck, they're also in the same sort of scenario, except as a duo, but neither of them has shield. Both of them would need a siphon refresh of some capacity. Pixie loses Vanya and now going to be forced to continue working his way down through this low ground, but he's got just one chance to connect another shot if they want to make sure that they have this full claim on the mountain face.
This is so difficult. I don't think they want to get any lower because there's a chance that this zone pulls right back up that mountain. So if they go down, it's going to be difficult to get back up. But Durham has been eliminated. 319 points is where he's going to stay for now as Combeck, Mixon, and Blaha continue to take shots on all these players with just 15 seconds left before we know where this next zone pulls. Tayson's in the zone. Queasy's still up above on height, controlling that elevation as Marius continues to play as a duo with Pixie.
Marius, he spotted out Nathan. Marius trying to confirm. All he needs is a knock, and then they can get plenty of material, hopefully, to just add to the count here. But Pixie, with that Shogun's medallion, the invis, could definitely give him a huge boost in his favor. Swizzy, Queasy, and Mustache, though, they're going to manage to connect to the other end of this mountain face as Tayson in the dirt doesn't have a chance to bring this one back. It's all down to Trulex.
Left as a solo. Feet in the mud, gets knocked down as Marius. Pixie now forced to elevate themselves up this mountain, but in the meantime, it's Queasy's trio up above getting free pickings on all the players that are trying to scale up this hill. The shots are getting connected. Yanis, Chap doing what they can, but what happened? What went wrong? Swizzy's left as a solo now. Queasy's been eliminated. Mustache has been eliminated. It is all up to Sweezy to clutch these last moments.
Combeck, Blaha, and Mixon went for the height take attempt, and it comes at a cost. Combeck having lost his teammates. Now it's going to be Noah Riley, Chap, and Yanis, one of our few teams that's still left together here in this endgame. They recognize the fact it's Marius, it's Pixie, it's only a duo, but they need to confirm these eliminations first.
Sliding down the mountain, they have a few bills left. Marius needs to make something happen as the action goes right into his box. Swizzy gets taken out. Pixie's still up. He has that invisibility medallion. Isn't going to be enough to clutch it out, though. It's Combeck up above. It's Yanis, Noah Riley, and Chap. A full trio on the low, holding strong as they look up. They start shooting. All they have to do is finish these last two players off as Combeck takes down one, and it's free pickings for Noah, Yanis, and Chap down below. But be careful, I might have spoke too soon. Noah does finish placements on the leaderboards to bump themselves back up. Also, thinking about trios, I mean, Queasy, Swizzy, Mustache, they were holding on to height for a good amount of time during that match. They had the troubles in the early games before. Will it be enough to kind of help them climb up? What position's Noah going to be in now?
Happen if Reason qualifies, like what these guys gonna do, and then I feel like everyone will sort of forget, wait, okay, these guys are Uncon now. What do they look like? Uncon, like how do they actually handle that? Are they able to get surge consistently? Are they able to be in good positions and like dominate from marshmallows like we've seen other teams do in other regions? The answer to that question today has been an astounding no, to be honest, until this final game. So a bit of life, and I think you need that sometimes in that last game, right? Because if this game maybe had gone how the other games had gone, Frankie, you might go into tomorrow with the vibes incredibly low, right? But at least you use this to sort of give yourself a bit of momentum going into tomorrow.
Although we have to make it known and remind anyone who doesn't know yet that there is no 1.5 times multiplier on the points tomorrow. It's the same point scoring system as we had on day number one, which is different from finals we've had really in the last couple of seasons. So that's something that the teams aren't going to be able to lean on. You need to be consistent on both day one and day two. And as we look at the standings, you can see some incredibly consistent teams. And one of them is currently at number one. No victory royales to their name, Mini Minor, but Vanyak, Pixie, and Marius have consistently made endgame after endgame, and it's showing on the leaderboard.
Wow, incredible stuff from these guys. That's 3 second places, 1/3 there in that last game. Pixie definitely has to take the credit here for his endgame clutches. It was the invisibility medallion yet again, Levin, that really clutches up for him. Unfortunately, of course, Vanya went down really, really early, and it was looking really strong for this team. I think they were on the island at one point there as well. I think they were the team to actually claim it, and particularly with how the zone ended up polling, you think, right, as the day has gone so far, the island team are going to progress and do really well from that position. But if it wasn't for Pixie, they would have gone down so much earlier.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to really big up Pixie because I feel like a lot of